Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Running Your Stories. We have another great episode coming up. This time we're talking with a good friend of mine, Amjid Khan, who has just done a 12-hour run back and forwards across the Humber bridge, the event called Hell on the Humber. Amjid got on very well with the event and he's come along to tell us about his story of how he got into running, the race across the desert that he did previously, and all about Hell on the Humber. We get into a few details about nutrition, about training, and about motivation and the mental challenge of this kind of event. So without further ado, let's get on with Running Your Stories episode 9, and welcome Amjid. So welcome Amjid to Running Your Stories.
Thank you.
And interested to find out your history and about your latest race, because it's definitely a different kind of event to what I've
slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of background, I'm quite late to running actually. I only started probably in 2011, I'd say.
Right.
So I've never been one of these sort of people that's been into running right from the start, from a young age, to be honest. So I only really got into running, I think, when I probably joined like the local gym.
Yeah.
They used to have like a running club, and I sort of went out with those guys one day, which was a bit of a shock to the system, because you think you're pretty fit when you've been, like on the gym machines, and then you sort of go running and run up hills. Because I live in Halifax anyway, so there's no getting away from hills, to be fair. Then I went out first time, and a bit of a shock to the system, but then just carried on doing it, and then it just went from there. Really, I think. Became friendly with one of the sort of local the PTs at the gym, and somehow we managed to end up signing up for this race in like the Sahara, it's called the Sahara race, run by like a company called Four Deserts. So it was actually over in Jordan, and that involved running, I think it was like 250 kilometers over 6 or 7 days.
So how long had you been running before you did that? That sounds like a massive step.
Yeah, I'd done, like as most people do, done the odd sort of race here and there, or not, sort of done the odd run here and there. So you go out on a Sunday and do 3 or 4 miles, or you run on the treadmill. So I'd been running probably on and off, I'd say about probably a year, 2 years,
right.
And then sort of joined the gym, and somehow you always think you're fitter than you are, kind of thing. And then in one of those sort of moments of madness, you sign up for something, and then you realise, shit, what the hell have I signed up for? It's one of those kind of things. And it was the actual race was like over a year away, so it wasn't in the next few months. So it was one of those where you sign up for something and it's just to give you a bit of a goal to aim for.
Yeah.
And then through that we had like a bit of a strict sort of training regime. So ended up doing a few races along the way as part of the training course, part of the training program. And one of those was actually this race that I ended up doing a couple of weeks ago called Hell on the Humber.
Yeah.
So it just escalated from there, and then sort of got involved in a bit more running along the way, and and then just ended up doing Hell on the Humber last week.
So it's an interesting way of doing things, and actually very similar to my own story as well, where I'd signed up to the Spine race. Okay. 108 miles, 182 kilometers, I think I did in the end.
Okay, wow.
Which is similar kind of madness distance, where again at the time I hadn't done a marathon. I'd done a few half marathons, but I think it was like a 15-year gap or something since I'd done those.
Okay.
So I know where you're coming from, and it's a conversation I've had with a few people about. I'm kind of very clear in my own mind now. I wouldn't recommend anybody to choose to do it that way. Yeah. Where you set yourself such a massive goal. Yeah. Although a year seems like a long time.
Yeah, it flies by, doesn't it? Yeah.
But at the same time, it sounds like it was the same for you. It's such a motivator.
Yeah, exactly.
It really,
exactly. Yeah.
It gets you in gear, and you can focus so much having that clear goal of what you're trying to achieve.
Definitely. And as part of the training, I actually did my first marathon, which was like Manchester Marathon. And looking back on it, it's just like, should have really started a bit slowly. So I literally went to like one of the extremes straight away, rather than sort of slowly ramping it up. Yeah. But it's just having that goal, like you say, just to look forward to. And it always seems like far away, doesn't it? But before you know it, it's just there on your doorstep. So as part of the sort of race, I did like first marathon, which was Manchester Marathon, and then I think I did the Hell on the Humber as a bit of a training run as well for that one. So that was 12 hours on the Humber Bridge, and I think I did White Rose Ultra as well.
Yeah, that was my first ultra.
Yeah, so that was in 2013, I think. And again, that was like the 30 mile, which you think if I've done a marathon, another 4 miles isn't that much.
Quite hilly though.
Yeah, exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah, which I realised when I was actually on it, and then it's in November as well, so you've got the elements to deal with. And I think when that year I did it, I think we had like hail at one point, and it was absolutely freezing, and it's when you find yourself in the middle of nowhere thinking, what the hell am I doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean that one's it's quite interesting in that you're never actually more than a mile or 2 miles from sort of major civilization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it obviously doesn't feel like that.
Feels like in the middle of nowhere, doesn't it? Well, exactly.
When the weather turns, and
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm in the local rescue team, and we go out and rescue people.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in our area.
Yeah.
And people need rescuing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's actually a nice event in that sense, in that. Well, you're out sort of on the route in places. It is kind of wild, and you feel well out of the way of things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, practically speaking.
Yeah,
like
you're probably not that far.
You're probably
not
more than a mile away at any time, and so it's a good introduction into things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I'm doing that again this year as well, which should be fun.
Yeah. So you're doing the 60 this year then?
No, I'm doing the 30, but I think the first year when I did it in 2013, it was more a case of just get round in one piece kind of thing, and I ended up doing quite a fair bit of walking. Because when I look at my times now, it's just like I think I did it in about 6.5 hours,
right.
Which probably longer to be fair. Because I say at that time it was a case of it's part of your training for the Sahara run, just get around in one piece. Just get your legs used to doing that kind of distance and the hills, and don't kill yourself. Whereas I think now I just want to, when I do it this year, it's going to be a bit more running and actually make a bit of a race out of it.
I pushed it a bit hard and it hurt.
yeah, I can imagine. But
I think
I don't think I could do the 60 because it's loops, isn't it? So you've got to do the 30 loop and then go out again. Never mind the 100. So I think a lot of it with doing those distances, as you know, is a lot of it's mental as well.
Yeah.
Because I think you just need to, when it starts hurting, you've just got to sort of know, is it one of those niggles that's going to go away, or is it one of those where you need to stop? So I think a lot of it with like running those kinds of distances, mental as well as physical. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's definitely something I've learned is that even more so with fatigue kind of discomfort. Well, obviously if you fall over and really bash something, it's probably different. I've been lucky not to have any major falls during a major race.
Okay.
I've plenty of minor falls. I think everybody does, but I haven't experienced a major one yet. But definitely things start to hurt. And again, especially in the spine race, I sort of really found this is the first thing that started to hurt there was my IT bands. They got really, really painful. Then the medics put some tape on my knees, and that pain went away. And then my ankles started to hurt. And then, but I find that your body only focuses on one pain at a time.
That's so true.
And it's kind of really weird, because over time you start to learn, well, if I can completely now not worry about IT bands anymore because something else has hurt it, well, what if I just ignore the IT bands as if something else is hurting, but it isn't? And so because so I find pain comes in waves.
Yeah, definitely.
Where something will come on and you feel like you can't just ignore it. But you'll think, okay, I can push through this, and I'll keep going. And it's like I think most of like as a kid when you've had toothache and things, at some point you stop thinking about it. And then an hour later you'll be like, oh, it's gone. It's kind of strange like that. I mean, and that's exactly how I find fatigue as well. You'll at one point you'll feel sort of really tired. Even on the little race I did last night, after 3.5k in, going up a steep hill, I thought I was going to bonk. I was absolutely trashed. And sort of got to where, not even the top of the hill, but where it went a bit more sort of gentle, and got my breath back and settled down. I'm flying along
Yeah.
again, and a few minutes later,
Yeah.
by the end I actually felt better than I did at the start.
It's that saying, isn't it? I think is it from Lord of the Rings, where it's one of the wizards, and he's got that thing where he goes, "This too shall pass," or something. It's just like everything, like I said, it comes in waves, doesn't it? So
Yes.
1 minute you can be feeling top of the world, and next minute you're sort of really sort of low. But at some point it's going to pass, kind of thing. So yeah, it's just having that experience, isn't it? And knowing
It is.
knowing that when you're running.
Like you say, that's a big part of the mental side. Is this, just having the experience that feeling tired means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And even feeling pain in an ankle or a knee or something like that, it's probably going to pass.
Definitely.
Unless there's a bone sticking out, then you're probably,
in which case,
you're probably going to need to get some.
Might want to stop for about 5 minutes and then just carry on afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't want to be a slacker, do you?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you can usually run it off. But
Yeah, cool. So the desert thing was really good actually. So it was run by a company called Four Deserts, and they do races that you'd expect in 4 different deserts. So they do one in the Sahara, one in the Gobi, one in Atacama, and then they do one in Antarctica, I believe. Which you wouldn't think of it as a desert, would you? But
well, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so
in the dry valleys there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So ours was meant to be in the Sahara, but I think in 2014 it was when there was loads of things happening in Egypt and stuff. So they moved it to Jordan, which in the end was quite probably good actually, because it wasn't as hot over there. I think it was only about 26 degrees, whereas in the Sahara at that time it was probably about 35, 40. So it ended up being quite lucky for us, to be honest. So so that it's similar setup to I think the Marathon des Sables, but not as extreme.
Yes.
So it was running for the first 4 days. You run, I think it's anywhere between 22 to 25, 26 miles a day. And then you have to carry all the gear on your back as well. So my backpack started off about 12 kg, and then every night when you finish, you're sort of sleeping in tents as well. So it's a really, really good one. Then you have to be like disciplined, obviously, because you're carrying your own kit, knowing what to pack, knowing what to take with you. Then it's one of those where, because it's a multi-day event, you're responsible for looking after yourself. So it's around sort of managing your injuries and making sure your feet aren't totally knackered at the end of the day. So that was first 4 days, and then day 5 and 6 you do like a double stage. So I think it was about 55 miles or something along those lines, and that was a really tough one, because I think all my intent going out there, because obviously it costs a lot of money to get out there with sort of flights and the race itself, and all the kit was just to finish. So I think day 5 and 6 I took it really easy and walked the entire way. So it literally took me 24 hours of walking, which is the most difficult thing I've ever done, because you think, it's only walking, but it was literally going through sort of canyons and valleys and up in the mountains, and I think the sleep, the fatigue really hit me at one stage, because I think it must have been about 3 a.m. so I've been walking for God knows how long, 18 odd hours, and I was totally out of it. And I think when you're tired, it's so easy just to like chill out and relax and not push yourself. So I was with one of the other PTs from the gym, and I just vaguely remember her giving me a slap at one stage, going, "No, you're not sitting down, carry on going," and stuff. And in hindsight, that was probably the best thing she could have ever done. But it's just that fatigue that hits you, and you don't realise until you've actually been in that sort of situation yourself how difficult it is when you're really tired just to keep on going. So that was that. And then the last day was a gentle 5k, I think, and you finish outside Petra, which is like one of the 7 modern wonders of the world. So I just remember sitting there outside like this massive I think it's called the Treasury at Petra, just drinking a Coke, and it was just absolutely surreal, just surrounded by all these other knackered people at massive medals, just drinking a Coke. And but in hindsight it was just one of those like amazing once in a lifetime kind of experiences. And looking back on it now, you just think it just makes you realise what you're capable of when you sort of do push yourself and put yourself out there outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing actually that you mentioned there about what you're capable of, and it's a big part of why we started doing this running your stories thing, is actually sharing the stories about what people are capable of, because I've already completely blown myself away with what I've been able to do. And I've never been any kind of athlete when I was doing like cross country at school, there's like a fat kid at the back. I was at the back with him.
Snap. That was exactly me.
I was always unfit. Then I sorted myself out a bit, and in late teens, early 20s, got into quite a decent, good level of fitness. and then that just kind of drifted away as I had a family and had
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
and everything else.
Yeah.
And I've only been running for 2 years.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, it's
Putting us all to shame. Yeah. Did I say been running for like 5 years? Oh, I meant 6 months. Yeah, I've only just started. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is incredible
Yeah.
what you're capable of
Yeah.
when you start to remove the mental barriers that
Yeah.
you put there for
Yeah, yeah,
yourself. Like you say, I mean, one of the big things that I kind of learned, it's a mistake that a lot of people make all the time with diet.
Yeah.
And that is that, like, especially, and I really struggle with it if I'm doing some things like DIY in the house. You've worked hard at this DIY, and it's hard because it's something you're not used to doing. So you feel mentally very drained at the end of it. You think, I finally got this plumbing done or something like that you're not used to doing. And you think, well, I deserve to eat some cake and have a beer.
Yep.
But actually, in the sort of biological sense of your body, there's nothing about deserve. Now, eating some cake and having a beer, if you've done a really hard workout for 8 or 12 hours or something, it's not going to do you any harm.
Yeah.
But it's still not a case of deserving it. It's just that in that state, your body's depleted, and it's just going to process whatever you put into it. And it's kind of shifting that sort of the whole mental view around to moving away from modern lifestyle and getting. I kind of think it's trying to get yourself back to what the sort of human body's capable of doing. And so I've actually just hit a big goal I've had for myself training wise since I learnt about it, and that is there's a uncontacted tribe, or very, very hardly contacted tribe.
Okay.
I think somewhere like Papua New Guinea. And what they have managed to do is study them without changing their lifestyle. And this tribe, they've measured how many steps a day they do.
Right. Okay.
And the average kind of, or the age of sort of old age for them, and sort of dying of old age is in their 80s.
Okay.
They all have perfect teeth. The only reason they die younger is from infections, because they haven't got antibiotics. If you cut yourself open, it can get infected, and if you don't have modern medicine, that's serious. No cancer or anything there, no heart disease. Because that's all modern lifestyle that does that to you. Totally. And they do 17,000 steps a day, everybody.
Wow.
Except for the really oldest and the really youngest. And in the month of August, I've managed 17,000 steps a day.
Wow.
Or averaged out. I mean, that included an ultra length training run, and a marathon where I was checking the flags for the route. Cool. A few of those kinds of things thrown in there, but so I think when you go beyond an average of 17,000 steps a day, probably it's time to call yourself an athlete. That's just being a person. That's what your body's designed to do. And
because you always hear about the 10,000 steps, don't you? That everyone sort of quotes and stuff.
That was a Japanese thing, apparently.
Wasn't it made up or something? I remember reading about it.
It was just a nice round number that somebody in Japan came up with to motivate people to.
You think it's one of those where there's been loads of scientific studies and someone's come up with this number, but it was just
it was when I looked into that, as you're saying, you find it's just a made up number. Then I thought, well, there must be like a real number. And the real number that your body's made to do is 17,000 steps a day. And that is from scientific studies.
It's funny you talk about diet, because my diet is absolutely rubbish, and that's one of the areas that I definitely need to improve of. And I think, like you say, it's that mindset of coming back from a really hard run, going, right, I need to rest now, but part of resting isn't just pigging out and doing nothing. But that's what I'm really guilty of, and my diet definitely needs improving. And I've noticed in the past when you get the training right, and you get the sleep right, and you get the diet right, once you combine all those three, you're just flying. Absolutely. You just notice all the differences, don't you, in your training and your running. But like I say, it's just that modern lifestyle and just finding the time. But once it's just getting into the routine. Once you're in a routine, it's just so easy and it feels normal. But I'm trying to cut out some of the crap I'm eating. It's difficult with kids and
it certainly is. I've eaten a big piece of chocolate cake with the kids earlier.
You didn't leave me in it? Yeah,
well, there was 3 pieces.
Okay, fair enough.
And there was 2 of them, and this piece was looking at me, and I was thinking,
let you off.
I just, like you say, it's really hard to not. I'm much better than I used to be.
Yeah.
But
I think my weakness is pizza, as most people know. Pizza. It's just just a sucker for it. But it's probably one of the worst things you can eat in terms of like calories and stuff, behind like cake and soft drinks and stuff.
Yeah, I think pizza doesn't have to be as bad. Generally, if you go and get a pizza from a fast food place, there's loads and loads of salt in there.
Yeah.
It's processed flour, so it's going to spike your insulin levels and everything. It's, like you say, and it's the combination of when your insulin levels spike and you eat fat.
Yeah,
that's when the fat's bad for you.
Okay.
If you eat fat and protein without sugars, it's actually good for you rather than bad for you.
Okay.
I'm not a nutritionist, but I've been listening.
Remember that for next time.
Well, I've been listening to some very good podcasts, which is why I've got into podcasts. The very best ones are the Joe Rogan Experience. He has some top, world-renowned top nutritionists on talking about these things and describing it in a lot of detail.
Okay.
I find them fascinating. It's the combination of things.
Yeah.
But if you made a pizza with whole wheat flour, did a whole wheat base, and put loads of vegetables and things on there. The cheese, there's nothing wrong with cheese. There's nothing wrong with tomatoes. There's nothing wrong with chilies. All those ingredients are good. It's the combination when you go to a fast food place.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It actually just takes what separately was all actually a bunch of good stuff, and they just combine it in the wrong way.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And
that's what makes it taste so nice, though.
It does taste nice.
Everything. I just reckon everything in moderation. I think I'm not one of these who just can sort of restrict himself and just eat totally healthy. And
no,
I think sometimes you've got to live a little and just give yourself that odd treat. But it's just like I said, just keeping it in moderation and not going overboard.
I completely agree. Moderation, variation.
Yeah.
So where do we get up to? So the desert race.
Yeah, so that was in, I think it was like February 2014. Right. So when I came back from that, I'd already booked a few races just to keep myself going, because I didn't want to come back and just sit around and not do anything. So I think I did like 3 races in really short sequence, and I think they were literally 1 week after each other. So I think I did was it the Huddersfield half, which was quite hilly and tough. And I think either the next week or the week after, or one of the weeks, I did Leeds half marathon. And I think the week after I did like the Bluebell 10. So it was just 3 weeks of like really hilly, tough races, and I think I was just trying to make the most of the fitness I had coming out of the desert run, and in hindsight it was just like, what the hell was I doing? There's no way I could do that now, but so that was interesting. And then I had a bit of a lull over the summer, and then I'd entered the Yorkshire Marathon in York, which I'd done previously. I think mentally I probably wasn't in the right space, because I was out. I'd done my training for it. I was out training one day on a Sunday, and I remember it being really one of these cold, dark, wet Sunday mornings. Probably not October, I think it was, or September. I just remember being like 3 miles into like the training run, just probably about 7 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden I just thought, what the hell am I doing? I don't want to be here. I could just be in bed now. And then I literally just stopped, and then ended up walking all the way back home, which took me like an hour and a bit, really feeling sorry for myself. I just literally got into bed in my like training clothes, in my like shorts and t-shirt, and just, I don't know what it was, just mentally I just switched off. So I didn't obviously enter like the Yorkshire Marathon, and then had a bit of a lull after that, and then looking back on it now, it just reinforces the mental side of running. It's like just thinking to yourself, why am I running? Why have I entered this race? I think it's just supposed to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy running, if you're not enjoying it, there's no point really.
I'd strongly agree with that. What I've been trying to do, because as you say, when you're training towards kind of big goals, you need these little races along the way. You want to get the experience of getting ready for the race. What do you do on race morning? And so it's really important to race along the way, otherwise you get to the start line and you don't know what you're doing.
Definitely.
And you can really mess up. But what I've been trying to do is not have, probably only, well, this year I've got 3 big races, and they're ones that are actually intending on going along and actually racing them, trying to get the best time I can. If I hurt myself getting there, I don't really mind. They're the big races, but the other races I'm always holding back a bit. And doing it for the pleasure of being out there. And it's just that going out, I look at it as something like going for a training run with another 200 people. With drink stands put on. And aid stations along the way, and a few people cheering you on versus going for a training run on your own. And
that's a good point.
And that's because, as you say, I think you can very easily burn yourself out. Because I was in danger of doing a similar thing, not immediately after the spine, but because I was broken. I put myself back together. But more so once I got myself back together, which took from January till April. April I did the Oldham Way Ultra. And did very well in that.
Was that this year?
Yes.
Cool.
And after that I kind of felt on top of the world. I can run, I can enjoy myself, and I thought, well, actually really I don't want to peak in the middle of summer because I don't like running in the heat. So this is why you and I will probably do different kind of events. I like mountain events, winter events. I really struggle in the heat. I'm really interested in the desert events. I heard a really good interview about Marathon de Sable. I like what you've been describing about yours. I like this idea that the multi-day, multi-stage camping in these tents and things. It sounds really interesting, but I really struggle with the heat. So I just kind of went out to just enjoy running for a couple of months, and then booked events like September and November to actually build towards next January's spine.
Wow.
So it's I think it's good to like you say, you be aware of the fact that after race your really big challenges, you're either going to have some people actually even slip into depression as
to be fair, when I came back from the desert, I wouldn't say I was depressed, but you just think, like, this time last week I was like middle of nowhere, just surrounded by dunes, and like now I'm back in Beauregard, Halifax, or whatever. But there is like a mental side to it, and you do sort of takes you a bit of time just to readjust back. It sounds like really extreme, but just readjust back into society and just like the day to day.
I mean, one of the events that I guess that really helped me along those kinds of lines was I did the Lakeland 3-day event. Which it's set up as non-competitive. Although you're chip timed, so you get an accurate time from it. And if you do the same routes for the 3 days, they'll give you a place in. So I can't remember if it was 14th or 15th. I'll say 15th. I don't want to go the wrong side. But that was really good because it was, like I say, you're not feeling like under loads of pressure to race it. I think I did it with Jim and James from the club. And it was like 58 miles over the 3 days, and I think Jim counted up 28 summits that we went over on the lakes. It was very hilly. But it was just fantastic fun. It was just really, and it was the May bank holiday weekend. Perfect sunshine all weekend.
Fantastic, wasn't
it? Too hot if anything. But the events like that as well, it doesn't, like I say, that was really good. So went away with a couple of mates, camping out in the Lake District, running across these hills, seeing parts of the lakes I'd never seen before, and
it sounds amazing actually. That's one thing I want to do, just get out more and just on like the mountains and stuff, and just something more off-road. We'll come on to it, but that's one of the reasons why I joined like Stainland. Just to find like local trails and stuff, because like been living here God knows how many years, and like went on a couple of runs with like the club a few weeks ago, just on some local trails, and I wouldn't have had a clue where I was, but you were literally, like we were saying earlier on, probably like a few hundred yards from that civilization, but you literally feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. So it's just, that's what I want to do in some next year, just to get out a bit more and just off road and discover some of the local
I've lived
trails.
in this house for 10 years now, and only say 6-7 months ago I was out with again some of the guys from the club, and we ran some trails that actually from my door I can get to in 5 minutes of running.
Right. Wow.
And I'd lived here for like 9 years,
Yeah,
and I didn't know the weather.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just like,
So we're quite lucky, aren't we, just in terms of where we live?
Yes,
It's just
yeah.
spoiled for choice, to be fair.
Yeah, there are really good trails about.
Yeah.
That then lead on to other trails.
Yeah.
Lead
Oh,
on to
yeah,
other
yeah.
trails.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I have worked out a marathon route that I can run from my door, where I only have probably a total of about 1 kilometre on road.
Right.
It's a trail marathon I can do from my door.
Okay. Wow.
That actually touches onto the Pennine Way, right into the into the, the proper Pennines, and then back around again. It's nice.
I'll look out for that on Strava sometime soon then.
Yeah. Well, give me a shout. We'll go and do it.
Yeah, sounds good. I think I'm washing my hair that day. Cool.
Yeah, it's quite hilly.
Yeah, I'll give it a miss.
Yeah,
it's weird actually. You say because of the training I've been doing for like Hull on the Humber, it's just all been on the canals and stuff. So any bit of like hills now. So I did like Halifax Park run last week, and it's not the hilliest, but it's just like, wow, hills. I don't remember these. Like my legs are just like going, what are you doing? This isn't flat. But yeah, it's weird how you just get used to like doing one type of training, and then you just have to try and
well, I think that's why having the long term training goal is really useful, because I was building up to the spine, and so when I chose my a half marathon to do, so I did the Huddersfield half, which is very hilly, although it is on road. Then I did my first marathon. I went and did Forest and Moors Marathon, which is over Scarborough and Rydale Mountain Rescue Team that organise it, and that's all hills and trail, and because that's a similar kind of terrain to us, and so that's what I did with all my training. Was I didn't pick an easy marathon. I didn't pick an easy
just try and recreate the conditions that you're going to be doing.
Same or even potentially more extreme conditions because it's a shorter distance, and like you say, it really kind of gives you direction. But
definitely.
And you've been training for running on, I guess it's all tarmac, is it? On the
it's all tarmac on the Humber bridge. So you've got the main bridge obviously with the cars, and then you've got like walker on either side. So you don't have to worry about bumping into cars or traffic and stuff. But it's all tarmac. So it's quite tough on the old knees and hips and all sorts. So it's part of the training for that. If you want to come on to that, it's probably a standard ultra training, as you know. So I was just doing loads of like back-to-back runs on a long run on a Saturday, and then long run on a Sunday when your legs are absolutely knackered and you just think, I should be in bed, I shouldn't be running, I should be running. So I had quite a few weeks of that, just sort of ramping those miles up, and I wasn't doing too bad really. I got into a routine of just sticking on the old headphones, listening to a podcast, just plodding along on the old canal, and it's quite good because you don't have to worry about time really. It's just more around getting used to time on feet and stuff. So I actually quite enjoy them because I used to go out really early in the morning, and obviously we've had a fantastic summer, as you say, so it was nice and bright, not too warm at that time in the morning, and so that was really good. I did a few weeks of that, and then just to get a bit of hill training in, I did sort of trooper lane, so I went up and down that sort of 10 times. So I'd run down it on like really sore quad, then try and hike all the way up, because I'm not like the fastest of walkers, but I try to sort of get used to hiking rather than just walking really slowly up a hill.
It's something that I'm trying to work out. I'm quite a fast walker, but I've started to realise that I don't necessarily go up steep hills in the most efficient manner. So that's kind of the latest thing that I'm looking into and trying to learn more about. There are some really good videos online, which is what I've been.
The whole hands on knees thing and sort of.
No, I see people doing that, but I haven't found anywhere that actually recommends it as a good practice. Now, depending on the distance, you see, anything over 60 miles, I would definitely use trekking poles. In which case, you don't need hands on the knees because your hands are on your poles.
Sure.
But everything that I've seen, I'm not a personal trainer. And, it's only my personal opinion and experience. It suggests that you want to keep your body as upright as you can, otherwise you start to compress your lungs and your breathing space. So as you lean forward to put your hands on your knees, you're going to breathe less.
Makes sense.
So you want to try and stay upright, and the thing I've been really focusing on lately is making sure that I'm engaging the glutes. The big muscles at the on your arse, basically. Very big muscles. But And what I've found is by doing some, the basics seem to be doing some exercises, like warm-up exercises, to make sure those muscles
are engaged before you start.
Yeah. And what I'm finding is that since I've really focused on that, and my calves are feeling it a lot less than they were before. So clearly I was overusing my calves. Yeah. And when I've looked into it, the pain you cause yourself from not using your glutes properly is sore calves, sore ankles, sore like tops and fronts of your feet. Yeah. And this is all the things that I've suffered with on my long races before.
It's weird. I'm smiling as you say that, because one of the physios I see, every time I see him going, oh yeah, I've got a bit of dodgy knee, or my Achilles hurts, every time he says it's to do with your glutes, it's like everything goes back to your glutes, because like everything else is compensating for like your glutes not firing and not activating.
Exactly that. So like I say, I've been learning about that, and then again, because after I really destroyed myself on the spine. I was seeing physios at Pro Sport Physio, which is just down the road from here. A guy called Will, really good. Yeah. And he's taught me all the right exercises to do to get everything firing. And then as I'm looking into specific things, it just keeps coming back to the same exercises he's taught me, except I just keep learning more and more about, well, why is it so important to do that one? Yeah. But I haven't yet found something that he didn't tell me to do.
So do you do that before you go out running? So you start activate them and get them firing before you run.
Yes.
Because that's what my physio says. It's just you need to do a proper warm up beforehand.
Yeah.
It goes like most runners, and I'm guilty of this. Just start running and just take it easy for the first few 100 yards, and it's like, that's my warm up done. And let's go.
I mean, but again, kind of watching more videos and things online is giving more options of the warm up, because the best warm-up exercise I've got from the physio involves lying on your back and raising one leg at a time, kind of thing. And I can show you it when I'm not up to microphones. But if the ground's wet and muddy and stuff, which it often is at the start line, you don't really want to do that. So I've seen an alternate way of getting the glutes fired up, which isn't as good, because I've tried them both to see. But essentially, you just clench the muscles and walk. And what you'll find is that your legs kind of splay out, and it looks like you're doing something from Ministry of Silly Walks. And it feels really weird. But straight away you notice the difference. I do. Because one of the things on that video, and I really need to remember the name of the people that do it, because I really like their videos, and I should quote them and get them more people watching. I'll have to make sure I put it into the next podcast. Because one of the things that they say happens if you haven't got your glutes firing is that your gait, you can get a negative gait. So instead of your feet staying nice and wide apart, they start to cross over. And what I know is that when I've been struggling on runs, I actually kick myself in the ankle with the other foot.
Right.
And when I do the warm-ups for my glutes, I never do. And that's something I've noticed. That's exactly what's described in one of these videos, and I thought, right, that's why I've been doing that. Because I actually thought it was a certain pair of shoes, because I noticed I did it more when I was wearing those shoes. But it's actually, like I say, it's come down to how much I've engaged the glutes. So.
Interesting, when you just knowing that kind of stuff, and it's just when it clicks and goes, that's
exactly. It's just building more information on top of information on top of information. And then my brother asked me to take him out for a run a few days ago, and
is that the one where you destroyed him?
Yes. Well, we did less than 3k, and his back totally seized up. He was in a lot of pain, so we had to stop. And I know nothing about backs because I've not. I haven't had a problem with my back yet, and so I just didn't know how to help him. Like I say, I'm not a personal trainer or anything. I can share my experience, but having not had a problem there, it was kind of right. Okay. Well, let's try these stretches that I know aren't going to make it worse. Try a bit of this and a bit of this. It wasn't really helping. He was actually all right about an hour later. I think, I don't know, he just
must have pushed him too hard. That's what it was.
He seemed very tense, and once he afterwards as soon as you relaxed properly,
Yeah.
all the pain went.
Yeah.
Which again is back to like with running and enjoying it and being relaxed.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're tensed and try to focus yourself too hard, then
just someone who does it.
Yeah, it's no good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Back to Hull on the Humber training.
Yes.
So I think the main training sort of run I did was just where I live. There's a sort of big moor called Savile Park, so it's about a mile round. Yeah. So I think just to get the mental side of training, because for the Hull on the Humber you're not allowed any headphones, they reckon it's for health and safety, but I think it's just to make it even tougher than it would be ordinarily. So I just wanted to get a bit of time on the feet, so I did so it's a mile round, so I did 6 hours of like walking, sort of running around that, just to get more time on the feet, because the longest run I'd done up until then in training was around about 3 hours. So I just wanted to just get more experience of that, so I did that. So that was like 30 miles in about 6 hours, which was really good. And afterwards people saying, oh, well, you're not bored and stuff, but it's interesting how, I don't know if it's just me or whether I've got a knack for this, I just can sort of switch my mind off. So like the first half an hour you're thinking all sorts of thoughts going through your head, going, why am I doing this, and yada yada, but then after a bit you just sort of switch off, and all you're really concentrating on is just getting around and doing another loop. So I think that was really good, and it fills you with a bit of confidence, going, hang on, I might actually be able to do this and make a decent fist of it. So yeah, the training up until Hell on the Humber was really good actually. Got some decent mileage in, and I think I did my sort of biggest month for like training, I think in July, which I don't think it was massive, but about 200 odd miles, which was really good for me. Yeah. So going into the race I was like,
I guess that's about 50 miles a week, is it?
Yeah, I think my most week was like 55 miles, so it was probably about 46, 47 a week. So yeah, it's really positive. So the race itself, I think the good thing about it is, I think as you were saying earlier on, sometimes it's good not to race people, it's just to be there running and just enjoying the aspect of running. So again, the way the race is set up is it's 12 hours. They do a 6-hour version, the 12-hour, they do a 24-hour, and this year they did a 36-hour version, which was just like, you think 12 hours is bad, but imagine like 36 hours just running back and forth on a bridge. So that essentially you just have to do one, so the bridge is like 2 miles long, so you have to do one lap, which is 4 miles every 3 hours. So it's up to you whether you sort of walk it, run it, do whatever you want, kind of thing. So I think I've done it previously. I did it in 2013 and 2014, and I managed, I think it was 44 miles the first year and then 40 miles the second year. So I just wanted to try and sort of beat that. I think in my head I had a bit of a target of like 50 miles, just a nice round even number. You could say you would run 50 miles. So on the day itself it went pretty good actually. I had a really good start. Sort of ran the entire first lap, which was easy enough, and then so I've got into a routine of sort of running most of it and then walking each edge, because obviously there's like 2 towers on the Humber Bridge, and the flat bit in the middle is not too bad, and then at each end it sort of slopes down. And to complete a loop you have to come all the way down and go, it sort of spirals down on itself, and then you have to go back up again. So I was walking each sort of end and then running most of it, and I realised when I was doing it, it was just like, hang on, I'm running a lot more than I was last time I did it, and it actually feels good to run it rather than walk, because obviously you're covering more distance and it feels like you're actually making progress rather than sort of plodding along. First half was really good, went really well, and then I realised the Garmin I had, the battery was going on it, so I think officially it's meant to have like 13-hour battery life, so I was hoping I could get it all done in sort of one session, but then at one point I had to run with it connected to a battery pack in the back of my pack, and it was like, I'm hoping this doesn't fall out halfway across the bridge. And then it's funny, as you were saying before about things aching, and then I think at one point my hip was aching, and then next minute it was my knee, and next minute it was the ankle. It was just like, what the hell's going on, kind of thing. But again, it's one of those where you just sort of put it to the back of your head and try and forget about it. So in the end ended up, I think I had a target in mind of 50 miles, and I think at halfway I think I'd done probably about 26, 27, which was about seven loops. So I was on target, and I was like feeling pretty good. Then I think slowly, you start to slow down, don't you? The sort of longer you get into a race, and I think in the end, I had probably about two or three laps left to go with like three and a half hours. So I was doing all right, but then I think mentally at one point I just sort of switched off and because you set your tents up at the beginning of the race with all like you know the kit that you need and stuff and food, etc. So I was just feeling a bit rubbish, so I think I just sat on the sort of fold out chair that I had outside the tent and just spent a bit too long there, thinking, oh, I've got loads of time, I'm really might as well relax for a bit. And I think I spent too long there. So then the last bit I had to sort of run the last 2 laps without stopping, and I think I just pushed myself too much. So when I was going out for the last lap and I had like an hour and 20 left, so I was filling my sort of tailwind up just with the water, and all of a sudden I just felt really sick. I was about to set off and I just felt like it was a combination of like sickness and dizziness. So I literally had to stand there for like about a minute leaning against a fence, and this guy physio was asking me, "You alright, mate?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm alright." And then got up and I was about to walk off, and then all of a sudden I just thought, do you know what, I've done like, I think it's probably about 49.5 miles back then. I had like an hour to go, and I just thought, you know what, I don't want to go out. Just literally switch just like clicked and was like, nah, I'm done, that's it. You know, I've had a decent race. I really pushed myself a lot more than I've done the previous 2 years. You know, I feel like I've done myself justice, and I'm fine. So I think with an hour to go, and I think you can, it's not exactly not finisher, you can in the last hour, you can sort of, you don't have to go out for another loop, you still count as a finisher. So then I sort of sat there for about 20 minutes feeling a bit sorry for myself, and then spent about half an hour packing the tent up and stuff, trying not to get cramp. But I felt really, really good actually. I didn't feel like I'd sort of failed. And I think that last half an hour of sort of packing my tent up, going back and forth to the toilet, I did another half a mile. So the Garmin clicked on to 50 miles. So it was like, yeah, I've done 50 miles. So I think officially I did 48 miles, but I think with the Garmin being a bit out and a few trips, I'd done 50. But yeah, looking back on it, I just think, you know, I've done myself proud. I had a really decent stint training, and, you know, I pushed myself all the way through the race. So I was happy to call it a day, to be honest. Yeah. Got my medal, got my t-shirt, and it was just like, maybe see you next year, you never know, to try and officially crack 50 miles. I think on the bridge it's a really good atmosphere. Everyone's really down to earth, and, you know, you see the familiar faces as you're passing each other on every single loop, and everyone just says hi to you and well done, keep going. And there's like a really good Facebook group as well. Everyone has a load of sort of banter, so you see some of the people that you've been chatting to on Facebook. But yeah, it's really, really good event, really sort of well managed and stuff. Everyone sort of looks after you. So yeah, that was it. Yeah,
well, as I've said to you when we started talking, whenever it was, a couple of months ago, which actually reminds me that I had in mind to make sure I thank you for your support to this podcast, actually, because in fact I didn't know you at all before you started commenting on the podcast, so I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
It's great getting the feedback. But yeah, I hadn't heard of Hell on the Humber at all before I saw that you were doing it. And so I've only learnt about it by following you, basically. And it's definitely it's an interesting version of like you say a time period event. I am seriously thinking about doing a 24-hour race myself, because one of my ambitions, kind of longer term ambitions, is to do 100 miles in 24 hours. And I think if I do a 100-mile race, unless I picked a particularly sort of flat or fast race,
exactly,
because I tend to go for the mountainous, lots of equipment kind of races, doing a 100 miles in 24 hours is really tough. Whereas if I did a loop race for 24 hours, that's a good way of doing it.
Well, that's the other thing, you're always sort of quite close by. You know, if something happens, you're literally like the furthest you're going to be is like 2 miles away from help, etc. So
the few questions I've got, because some of it's covered in what you've said and in your blog, but maybe just expand on them a little. One is about the pace, and it sounds like the Hell on the Humber is not as tough as some, because somebody else who's supposed to be coming on at some point that I still need to sort out. She did the Liverpool to Manchester double, which was 100 miles on canals, basically. And I'm really interested to know how you pace that. Now, obviously, you were describing on the bridge, because you've got these inclines at either side. That's how you've paced it by walking those. So that's logical, because you're saying it's about, was it 2 miles?
2 miles,
So every couple of miles you're having a bit of a walk, couple of miles, bit of a walk. 'Cause obviously with with hilly events,
Yes.
you walk the hill,
Yeah, exactly.
you walk the uphills, and run the rest is what you generally
Definitely,
aim for to pace yourself.
Yeah. And that's basically what I was doing on that. So just walking the uphills and then running the rest of it as much as possible.
So that makes sense. Then, nutrition wise, you mentioned Tailwind.
Yeah, so that was that's probably the majority of the fuel I took on. Although I mentioned this in the blog, you can get them in like little stick packs, can't you? Or you can get them in the big pouches, and I think I had the big pouches, and I sort of separated them into little sandwich bags so I had like 12 or 13 little packets of white powder.
Little packets of white powder, absolutely.
Looks really iffy, but I think the bags I used were really flimsy, so when I was trying to pour them in the bottle, they were just going everywhere, so I was just covered in white powder at one stage. It was like, so I had to like sit down and do that. So Tailwind was the majority of it, and I had loads of other little sort of snacks and like usual nutrition, like bars you can get, etc. And I think the best thing I did was just take some like full fat Coke and just some almond milk, just put it in a cooler. That just tasted amazing at 8 hours in. Tailwind was probably the majority of it, and I'd used it in training runs, so I knew sort of it'd be okay with me stomach wise. So that was a key thing.
I've only just tried it. I did a 50k training run.
Okay.
So 31 miles.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd used it and found it really good.
Yeah.
Until then, I've not actually used any of the kind of sports supplements or drinks or anything.
Okay.
I just started to realise that putting solid fuel into your stomach means your stomach's got to work harder than putting liquid fuel in. Yeah. And you want your legs working hard, not your stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
And so just trying to transition over to that. Yeah. It's another. I don't know how much more it gives you, but maybe only another 5% or something. Yeah. Maybe it's more. I'm not sure, but
it's good to have the solid stuff because it just feels like you've eaten something.
If
you just drinking stuff all the time, plus it means less trips to the loo, hopefully. But
I mean, I think for longer things, once you get beyond 12 hours, certainly you
need something solid.
I think the thing that I like is whole wheat wraps with either cheese or egg or some salad and stuff inside. Okay. Just again, it's stuff that you. Yeah. It's not hard on the stomach, and it's you still need to keep for the longest stuff. You still need to keep putting vitamins and stuff. It's you got to be a bit careful with that. Exactly. when you I mean, it took us 46 hours on the spine race. So,
wow. Don't think you can survive on liquid alone, can you? For that?
No, that's right. But it's something I have learned is the kind of the sweet thing when you start off running 10k's and then you go to a half marathon or whatever, you can just eat chocolate or whatever, but when you get into the longer stuff, just, for me there comes a crossover point, which I think is the point where your body switches into ketosis, so burning
fat and stuff,
fat and protein, but you still need carbs to help the process, but you really don't want sweet carbs at that point. And then again, hear a lot about that from the different nutritionists and some of the other good podcasts that there's a good one actually. There's an episode from Training for Ultra. The guy Rob, who's just done CCC in the Alps, actually, like literally finished last night or this morning. Did very well, better than he was expecting, because I've been listening to him in the lead up to it. Because he uses a lot of these. American guy uses a lot, I think Hammer Nutrition uses lots of their products, and he had the one of their top technical nutritionists on talking about it all, and so some very good science, and I don't dispute the science, but I prefer to keep on natural foods as much as I can.
I think you've just got to try. You just got to try it and see what works for you, kind of thing. Because everyone's different. And
that's right. So I think sometimes certain fruits can work just as well as gels. But then it's a bit more natural. And
I think you think it's just to try it in training as well. So obviously you don't rock up and try it for the first time in the race. So
absolutely. But I've tried the Tailwind, and that's worked really well. Like I say, it's just trying to move away from putting too many solids into the stomach and go for the more liquid based things. And that was good.
Cool.
An interesting thing that I read a snippet about that I'm interested to look further into, is that so far in what I've done during a run, I've not had cramp.
Right.
And I've been wondering why.
Yeah.
Because clearly I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good thing. I want to keep it that way as I keep increasing distances and pushing myself harder. And the thing that I just read about, in fact, I think it's from there's a book I'm reading, Relentless Forward Progress, about training for ultra marathons. And in that it says that if you have a very low salt diet all the time, then when you sweat, you actually sweat out less salt.
Okay.
And it's just one of these kind of adaptations that your body does because of the way
to sort of conserve,
because you always have low salt,
and
so you don't sweat out as much salt, and therefore you actually don't need to put as much in during a race because your body's used to not having as much. And it's one of the things I did years ago in my diet, was actually
reduce the salt.
Almost everything we eat at home is like homemade from scratch, not packet foods and things like that, not processed stuff. So actually have a very low salt diet, the right amount of salt. Most people have a very high salt diet, and that's an interesting thing to learn actually, is that if you have a high salt diet, your body's basically used to having loads of salt, so it puts it out through your sweat as soon as possible.
So you need to keep replenishing
it. Because I was wondering, I see all these people having all these they have like salt tablets and stuff during races, and I'm thinking, I don't need them. And it seems to be because my everyday diet is low salt.
That's interesting.
So it was an interesting little snippet. So like you say, all these
you
little things
every day,
that's what I love about this actually, is so much to learn, but it's not like learning about a computer game, which is like a completely artificial world. This is
like
real
practical
world
stuff that can help
this is practical
day-to-day,
stuff. I mean, you know, this is being able to go and run 100 miles, and you know, nobody can dispute that's a real world thing.
Definitely. Cool.
But I mean, again, you know, what you've been saying about training and long-term aims. I think it's interesting, the difference between like using a marathon as a stepping stone versus training just to run a marathon. Because I think it's all about, I think it's a lot about your peak mentally more than physically. Because clearly there's no reason why if one person can train up and run a marathon and then 4 weeks later run an ultra, there's no reason why other people can't. Obviously we're all a little different, but I think it's that mental thing of
definitely
you set yourself the limits and think, right, that's the best I can possibly do, whereas my ongoing philosophy is I wonder how far I can push my body before I break. I don't want to break myself, so I'm kind of doing it cautiously, and actually this year a lot more sensibly than I was doing it last year, because I've learned more.
I think the other thing with ultras is when you finish one, no one asks how long did it take you. You know, if you just say I've run 50 miles, no, because like with the marathon, everyone knows. Sort of how, so you know, you've got your 4 hour mark or your 3.5 hours. Whereas if you would say I've run 50 miles, no one says, well, what time did you do it? And it's just like, I've run 50 miles. What more do you want? Kind of thing.
I know, well, which is great. And you also learn that 50 miles on one event and 50 miles on another event are completely different things.
Definitely. I think that's the thing with like trails and off-road stuff, is like the distance didn't really do it justice, does it? Didn't take the elevation into account, and
you got distance, you got elevation, and then you've got how technical it is. But then technical needs so much explanation if you were going to try and pin it down, because is it technical because the ground's really loose, and therefore you've got to slow down because you're going to slip and slide, or is it really muddy, or is it really steep, or is there big rocks that you have to keep jumping over, or is there no path there at all? So you've got to navigate, you know, it's really technical navigation. There's so many variations in technical. I love it.
Cool.
It's good fun. So you're hell on the Humber, 12 hours, just under your target 50 miles, which is fantastic. So what's next?
Good question. So I've got Yorkshire October 14th, I think.
Right, yeah.
Which it's one of those where I said I'd never do a marathon again after I sort of ditched my training for the Yorkshire Marathon last time, and then I think I just signed up for it. You know, when you see everyone finish the London Marathon and you just get caught up in the hype, and it's like, I'll sign up for it, and it's just like, oh, why did I sign up for it? So I've got a few weeks to train for that, so it's not going to be the best, but just going to get through that, get that done. And then,
is that a road marathon?
Yeah, it's a road one up in York, so it's relatively flat, so that should be okay. And then 3 weeks later I've got the White Rose Ultra, so doing the 30 miles, hopefully a lot quicker than I did last time.
Thank you, Amjid, for that excellent interview, and thank you to everybody else for listening in. And can I just say a big apology to Amjid, because the recording equipment cut out slightly early there. We carried on for about another 5 minutes, not a huge amount lost, so I haven't spoken with Amjid about that. I'm just going to fill in the last question that I asked to him, and then we'll close off the podcast. So the last question that I asked to Amjid was what advice would he give to somebody who was thinking of trying a much longer race or a longer event, and his suggestion was to believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. The mental block of thinking that you can't do it, that you can't achieve it, is what will hold you back far more than the physical training that's necessary. If you believe you can do something, believe that you can work through the whole training program, believe that you're going to stick to the training program, get advice of people that you know who have already done something similar, and build up to it, but believe in yourself. That is really the key advice that Amjid wanted to pass on to everybody, and that really rings true with what we believe at Running Your Stories, is that all of you people out there are absolutely amazing. The things that you can achieve when you go out running, when you go out walking, when you go out and do whichever sport it is that you prefer. We're focused on running here, but all of these things are amazing, and you can achieve so much more when you believe in yourself, and that's really the message to get across. So thank you for listening. Please like us on Facebook, visit our Facebook page, search for Running Your Stories on Facebook. We're on iTunes, we're now in the Google podcast app also, so whether you use an Android or iPhone, you can get us on your podcast app on your phone. And we're on YouTube as well, so please like our YouTube channel and subscribe to it so you can get updates when we put the next episode out. Thank you very much. That's it from this episode. We'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.